dropped out of high school at 16, and instead of staying at home every day, I decided to go to my local library. And I would spend all my time there, to the point the librarian came to me and asked, "Why are you here every day? Why aren't you in school?" And I told her, and she was like, "Well, let's get you into some programs." I started off in a program called the Detroit Youth Food Brigade, which was the same program but different before Jim Ricciano got on as the director. And that began my journey.
Detroit Food Academy, we are a youth leadership program for young people here in the city of Detroit, and we use food and the power of food business for our young people to learn to be leaders. And we started back in 2011 as a very short one-semester program at a high school in Southwest, and we asked the question of how could young people help their peers eat more fruits and vegetables? And it was kind of a simple question. You know, there's a lot of stereotypes that young people don't like to eat well and eat good food. And we realized there was an opportunity to use the entrepreneurial model to invite students to come up with their own answer to encourage their peers to try more fruits and vegetables.
It was one time I was just sitting down there, and it was something I was really interested in that was doing. And I was just like, so I would give it a try. And I loved it.
We did a small semester program where students actually ended up creating a business called Mangoes on a Stick, and they sold mangoes with chili and lime and some great toppings. They sold those in their cafeteria over the course of a few lunches and sold out. It was amazing. It was something like 300 mangoes in 3 hours, and it was really a proof of concept that when you ask young people to be the ones making choices about food for themselves and their peers, you get some really amazing results.
When I started, I was just out for money, and by the end of the program, I wanted to own my own business.
It got me into like how the work scene works, like that transition from school to the job scene, you know.
My friends were all in the program and they were all cooking and stuff, and I'd always, you know, pass the room and be like, "Oh my God, that looks so good," or "That smells so good." So when it opened back up for people to come in and like join the program, I did, and it was fun.
We rolled that into a summer opportunity where students got to go to the Eastern Market and run their own farmers market stands. They created food businesses and they interned with existing businesses. And at the end of that summer experience, a lot of the students were incredibly excited. They wanted it to continue into the school year. And so we said, okay, we'll try to find some funding and make that happen. And we were able to launch our first after-school program at a high school for a full academic year. So we were able to meet with students throughout the year and create a food business and learn about cooking and culinary arts and explore the Detroit food community. And our students brought all of that into their values-based project. They created a great business and shared it with their peers. And we have really started to grow from that place of young people asking for more opportunities and experiences and support.
Being at the Eastern Market the other day, you get to meet so many amazing people, and it's just like fun because you meet people who would have just walked by you. So it's like, sure, but when you out there and you giving your product and you selling it, it's just like you make people want to come in. So you get people pouring in, not only into your product, but also into you. So you're building, again, more connections with people. And it's just a real fun experience down there with other vendors and being able to see the other entrepreneurs that's down there with their businesses. Me being young myself, it really sparks you to want to do something.
And when I joined DFA, it kind of helped me realize that in order to have good food, you have to have a really good community impact. And that's basically what I'm doing, building up my community base in Detroit, where I was born, where I was raised.
So while we had a kind of small question at the beginning, you know, how to engage young folks more with food, young people really came back with an answer, yeah, this is what we want to do. And so our programming has grown from one school, one semester, to now we're at 18 sites year-round.
So we cooked a lot in the program, so I feel like my cooking skills have gotten really good. So now me and my friends, like a handful of us from the program, we actually have our own catering company called Cooking with a Purpose. We started it while we were in high school.
So this is my second year at this program. It's actually really fun for everybody who want to try it. so that way they can learn some new things and learn how to cook.
I actually learned about like how you can make cookies. Normally I would even watch my grandmother cook and everything, but now I've learned like when you set the butter out, you can just smash and that's how it's softened. And then when you make the cookies, when you leave butter in, it makes the cookies softer and more chewy. And that's how normally people like them. So now I know that I can do that when I make cookies now.
So after students who are in our program graduate from high school, they often go a number of different directions. So many of those are out into the next phase of their lives. But if they stay with DFA, we have two tracks that they can take. The first one is becoming a program facilitator, which means that if they graduate high school and want to keep teaching and want to be a program leader, they can join our staff and actually go back to the high schools that they were a student in and get to teach other young people about food. We also have a entrepreneurship focused track called Small Batch, which is for our young folks who are really excited about food entrepreneurship. And they are able to bring their entrepreneurial ideas to our kitchen and actually work in a licensed facility and make and package and sell those products to grocery stores across the region. So we have currently 3 student businesses that are under the nonprofit. They're Mitten Bites, which is a granola bar company, Slow Jams, which is a jam company, and the Detroit Pop Shop, which makes gourmet popsicles in the summertime. And our students run every aspect of those businesses. They run the production, they run the sales and account management, they do the delivery, they take the orders. And we also have a very robust career training program. So young folks who join this track are really interested in a career in food. So we have a number of trainings and certifications that we offer that set them up to take their next step in the world of food. And we also have internships and partnerships with a lot of different food businesses around the city. So to learn more about the Detroit Food Academy, you can visit our website, detroitfoodacademy.org. We can share with you all about our programming there. You can also support us not only by donating, as we're a nonprofit, but also by buying the products our students make. Mitten Bites, Slow Jams, and the Detroit Pop Shop are all available in grocery stores regionally and on our website. So you can go to the Small Batch Detroit link on our website and find those. And that's a wonderful way to support young people who are stepping into the entrepreneurial world. You can also follow us on all forms of social media. We have Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and we would love to connect with you through those.
The city needs more resources. A lot of the urban areas are very economically deprived, so it's very important that we fill out the census so we can have more federal funds that's allocated to the city. So I understand the needs for money that's allocated for special education. When I look at the city, there's a lot of development that's happening downtown. We need a lot of money that's going towards Section 8 for mixed housing, affordable income, and also for lunch programs. I canvass all over the city of Detroit. I would say some of us have a right to be paranoid about certain things, but what I would say is that it's essential and that it's important that we do this one, because this one is about having money that's coming to the city, which can disproportionately affect African Americans. So we have to be very conscious of that and take time out to fill out that application, man, because you actually could be helping save a family and also put some food on somebody's table. I'm Niggas Vu from the People's Action, and I want you to fill out the census for 2020. Be counted, Detroit.
Trying to think of how to summarize it without giving it away. Okay.
This set is magical to like everybody that's involved in it. Well, one is that we're shooting right on 16mm film, so that's you know, that's a medium that not a lot of filmmakers are playing with these days. And there's obviously like logistical challenges and technical challenges to all of that. But it's special because it's, you know, it's such a fantastic medium. And the story is wonderful. The crew itself, like, you know, they're bringing like their A game. Everybody's on the ball. And we're all just like really committed to this material and to making sure that Zachary's vision like translates on screen in the best possible way. And you can kind of feel it. You can kind of feel it in the set, and like we're just super excited to share it with everybody.
Okay. So, Ride On is a film set in Detroit during the year of 1968, and it deals with the family really reacting to the news that Martin Luther King had just been shot in Memphis.
So we're shooting here at a house on Longfellow Street in the Boston Edison district in Detroit. It's a very, very old house, over 100 years old. The owners are the third owners of the house, and they've owned it for over 40 years or so. So they kept a lot of their original furniture. The house is just a beautiful space. They have the original furniture, which is from the 60s, which helped us out on the production side, because to do a period piece is very expensive. To do a project that's set in another time is very expensive, because you need to pull out antique furniture, just antique collectibles, knickknacks, and things like that. But all of that is here and ready for us to use. So the production actually saved a lot in production design area.
That's awesome. Looks like you and Fred he's a black man in America in the 60s. He could have been a Black Panther, not necessarily a Black Panther, but he's seen enough and he's experienced enough to have his perspective, which he feels totally entitled to have. He's just coming home from war, so he's seen it at its worst, and now he's back home in Detroit, and he's seeing it at its worst that he's ever seen it in the city. So that's kind of where Fred, in a nutshell, is at with his blackness. Definitely so. Knowing that history, actually watching the movies and the documentaries on everything that happened in this sense a year prior to the assassination of MLK, it really helped me put things into perspective as to where tensions are for blacks in the city of Detroit, or were in 1968. Definitely so. I think one of my favorite things is history, but I'll be the first to say I hadn't ingested it to the point of which we need to do to prepare for these roles. Watching documentaries on Fred Hampton, Stokely Carmichael, all the black civil rights activists of the era really shifted my perspective as to what my parents went through. I'm only one generation removed from the civil rights era. So to basically, in summation, answer your question, yes. Yeah, like I see it totally different. Mm-hmm.
I would honestly say bringing the character of Nora to life has been my absolute favorite. Every shoot, I always love getting everybody dressed, but there's always one character that I get the most excited about, and Nora was the one that I was most excited to capture. I think everybody really does look the part for their character. But I really feel like I nailed Nora. Like there's always that one character that I'm like, I nailed that one. And I feel like I nailed her. So that's been my favorite thus far. So Nora's wardrobe was actually inspired a lot by Coretta Scott King. I really wanted to capture the elegance, the subtleness, and the just the daintiness of that time period. Where women were just very, I don't know, modest, but still very, they still cared about how they looked and they wanted to dress well at all times. So even when Nora isn't in like her day clothes, like she still looks very elegant, and you can tell she cared about how she looked even late at night at dinner with her husband, you know, so yeah, that's been one of my favorite parts about it all.
What I love about this set is this house was built in 1913, so it's over 100 years old. So that's really, really cool to me. And I love that we're filming on actual film. So this is my first time doing that process. And what I love about my character is I feel like I got the best character in the film, honestly. Like, he's the smartest person in the room. He's the youngest person in the room. He has the most potential, and he has the plan. The plan that we running with, I brought the idea to the table.
No, let's just keep it going. But yeah, we better go for this take. Let's do that.
If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look and would like to see the film, Right On is premiering on August 17th and 18th at Playground Detroit. For more details, visit misfitedacademics.com.
As of right now, I love the event. It's a vibe. It's beautiful, black people everywhere. All my natural hair ladies. I'm natural. My hair is, I don't know, maybe I'm like a 3C. I don't know. I'm lying. But I'm excited. It's an amazing event. Shout out to all of the people who do the event.
Okay, perfect. So I am a first timer to this event and I love it so far. As soon as I walked in, Chelsea greeted me with a great warming smile. I asked her how much it cost to get my hair done and she said free. So I love free 99, so I'm here trying a new style. I trust her, so I'm excited to see the aftermath, but the vibe here is so amazing. They're playing Afro beats, which is my favorite, so I can't wait to meet some other beautiful ladies, enjoy the music, and have a good time.
Well, I'm here doing a drum circle, doing community drumming. Drumming is very important in our culture, in our community, and we believe in sharing the drums with everybody. This is the first telephone, so we have to have the history at our festivals. This is Detroit. Detroit is about drumming and dancing and culture. The people, the community, being the environment outside. You know, it's a positive energy, it's a positive place. We need more positive things to do in this community. So children, families, everybody can come out and have a great good time.
So in corporate America, I just noticed that we all looked like we were in school together, like we were in a uniform. Everyone seemed to wear either the power colors, the yellow ties, the red tie, or just the blue tie. And I just wanted to separate myself from everybody else. And I always like to be different, and one day I just decided to go to a state meeting completely dressed differently from everyone else and wore a bow tie. And that bow tie received a ton of compliments all day long. And from that point on, I just started wearing bow ties every day. And even when I started my business, I said, you know what? When I started making these bow ties and I start offering things and get me a store, the one thing I'm gonna do is make sure that I'm not in a position where I'm giving everybody the same thing. And what I mean by that is you walk into a department store and you see a yellow tie, but behind that yellow tie is 25 more of them. Next to that blue tie is 25 behind those. It's like, if I'm gonna go shopping, I don't wanna end up in the same thing with somebody else as soon as I leave here. They're gonna have on the same thing. Eventually I'm gonna bump into them. Detroit's not that big. So I always said, you know what, if I make something but very exclusive, you may see the same bow tie over there, but I bet it's a different shape. You won't find two of the same unless I'm doing it for a wedding party, his and hers, a father and son. Those would be the reasons I would make something as a duplicate as opposed to being creative with the fashion or the bow ties. One point in time, Detroit was known as one of the fashion meccas, is the way I look at things. We have everything from pictures of our relatives like grandfathers, uncles, and so forth, who really dress to the nines on a regular basis. And if you look back as far as even baseball games, guys left the house in fedoras and a full suit. So therefore, our city has always been known and represented very well for fashion. And when it came to guys dressing up, we really were at the cream of the crop at one point in time. And I think that Detroit has also taught me my swag of, to be comfortable in my own skin, because you go certain places and people will know the way you dress, like, oh man, you got that Detroit look. I'm okay with that. I can take that compliment because I can take my Detroit look and I can go anywhere. So whether it be going to a 9 to 5, whether it be leaving there, taking my wife to dinner, or whether it be just going a night on the town, I feel like my dress is fly enough to be able to go anywhere and withstand, being complimented as opposed to looked down upon, or maybe like you shouldn't have wore that. I'm always comfortable. I don't consider you to be overdressed for any event. I do want us to get back into that era of the gentleman, whereas he wore suits and wore fedoras and cared about his appearance. I think that in our world right now, people unfortunately judge you within the first couple of seconds that they meet you based off of your appearance. However, sometimes wearing a suit and tie does make a difference on how you're dressed, how you're treated. And I just think that when we dress better, we actually feel better, and we act better too as well. So a lot of nonsense wouldn't happen, because who wants to mess up a nice pair of threads? So I would like to see us come back, but in order for that to happen, we do need more clothing stylists. We need more stores available for people to shop in, and not just giving what the world wants to see on social media or who's wearing what, and then, because that's more like a trend, and those trends eventually die. Whereas fashion itself is here to stay, because if you even look at it now, everybody who's wearing something who considers to be fashionable, they're pulling pieces from the older days. They're not just coming up with new stuff, they're not creating. It's like they're recreating what was already out there. I pray for a legacy that I'm building for my family, to be able to say this is what Miguel started for us, and this can carry over, because I feel that the suit and tie, that option is never gonna die. So whether it be wedding, funeral, job interview, corporate America goes back to suit and tie every day. That's just something that has to be done. And it's a need, whether it be in the schools, your uniforms that you have to wear. So where do you go to get those things from? Where do you go to get properly dressed? So it's something that I want to start and be able to leave behind and say, this is what I started. You work hard to have a name. I just want that name to carry on. I don't want it to stop with just me. I want it to keep moving.
The original Custard Hut started off in Dearborn Heights in 1979, so it's been in business for 40 years. This is our second location, and this is our second season for it. We opened up in July of last year. There's a few ice cream shops, but not frozen custard, and so we thought District 7 would be a good place to go.
Hey Detroit, this is Councilmember Janae Ayers. I am your at-large council member, and today we are in District 7, right here on Plymouth Road at the Custard Hut, supporting our local business. I got my favorite, which is Superman, and this is one scoop, if you can believe that. just want to make sure that we are putting out all of our wonderful businesses all throughout our city and how important it is for all of us to make sure that we're supporting them. So, although, ladies, I know we want to be nice and tight for the summer, you got to come over here to the Custard Hut and get some of this good ice cream. They've got parfaits, they've got flurries. They have so many things, and they're such an economical cost. So, again, we're at the Custard Hut, D7. Come on out, support local businesses.
Hey everybody, take it from the mailman. He's everywhere, every day. He's out here all the time. Come and get the best from Custard Hut. Get your chocolate from the Custard Hut. Take it from White Chocolate. It's the best chocolate in town.
So frozen custard, it's similar to ice cream, but instead of a cream base, it is an egg base, and it's a higher in butterfat percentage. So it gives it a richer, creamier taste than you would get with normal ice cream.
You know you can pick your own. You can get your own. This your waffle flavors. They come strawberry, blueberry, chocolate chip, cinnamon, or plain. So you want a cinnamon waffle. Then you pick your flavor, your custard. You want vanilla, chocolate, mixed, or what? Mix, twist. And then you can pick what you want on it. You can get Nutella, strawberry, Reese's sprinkles. Oh, okay. See? And you just made your own.
You could follow us on Instagram at _CustardHut2.
If you like this episode and want to see more, follow us at City of Detroit. Check out more stories from the neighborhoods at Stories from DET, and tap into featured events in the city on Instagram and YouTube at Burst Detroit.